All right, let's just jump right into this double or nothing explainer. I am absolutely hyped to break down this wildly emotional card with you today. I mean, we are looking at a lineup where literally everything is on the line. Careers, legendary tag team runs, and yes, even luscious locks of hair. So today we're going to navigate through the absolute madness, dig into the stories driving the action, and lay out some rock-solid predictions for who walks away victorious.
We are basically riding a stakes escalator today. We'll start with chaos and betrayals, move right into the Owen Hart Cup and the mid-card, explore some massive tag team legacies, and finally hit the absolute peak with the main event stakes.
So, let's kick things off with Section 1, Chaos and Betrayals. This is all about short-term explosions and total anarchy. We're talking matches fueled entirely by recent rapid-fire television developments.
And our first stop is the Stadium Stampede match. It's Chris Jericho's crew facing off against this crazy amalgamation of the Elite and the Don Callis family. Guys, this is pure, unadulterated madness. We're talking 7-on-7, maybe even 10-on-10. Honestly, the exact numbers don't even matter at this point. It's designed to be absolute chaos. The camera crews literally won't even be able to keep up with the action happening all over the arena.
There's a quote from the source material that just brilliantly captures the vibe here. It's meant to be sponsored by Dr. Robotnik, and it's meant to be crazy. That hits the nail on the head. There are no deep, overarching logic games being played here. It's just a wildly entertaining brawl where, we might even see Jack Perry cry a river over some onions again. It is all about short-term, visceral thrills.
So who actually takes it? I'm predicting Chris Jericho's crew gets the win here. And the reason is pretty simple. In a match this chaotic, the babyfaces really need to conquer the carnage to pop the crowd. Look for Jericho to potentially pin Ricochet, which is going to give the fans that massive, feel-good moment to really anchor all the pure anarchy we just watched. Shifting gears, let's look at the women's world title picture with this massive four-way match. This entire dynamic is heavily built on short-term storytelling. Specifically, Shida turning into an absolute jerk recently. She's been cutting off promos and blatantly betraying her supposed best friend, Chris Statlander. It's fresh, it's petty, and it injects a ton of immediate jeopardy right into the title scene.
For my prediction, I've got Tekla walking out as the winner. She acts as the perfect transitional champion to kind of keep the belt warm before the next major long-term storyline kicks into gear. Plus, the Fatal 4-Way format is absolutely crucial here. It allows Chris Statlander to lose the match without actually having to take the pin. That protects her momentum for the future, while letting Shida's shocking betrayal take center stage.
Moving right along up the escalator to Section 2, the Owen Hart Cup and mid-card. We're looking at tournament stakes and championship tensions. The crucial thing here is establishing who looks strong for the future and who is finally breaking out of their faction's shadow.
Let's break this down a bit. In the Owen Hart Cup, Swerve Strickland is clearly marching straight to the finals, fueled by short-term revenge on Bandito after their recent chaotic brawls. Then you have Athena, who relies way more on long-term storytelling. She absolutely needs these tournament wins to heat up and justify her multi-year dominance as a champion. And then we've got Jon Moxley defending the Continental title against Kyle O'Reilly. Recently, Moxley just barely survived O'Reilly's devastating ankle lock, literally getting saved by the 20-minute time limit. So he desperately needs to stay decisively strong here to cement his spot for future main events.
Now the build-up for Takeshita versus Okada for the international title is just a masterclass in long-term tension. For months now, we've seen cracks forming with Takeshita and the Don Callis family. And last week, Takeshita proved he's an absolute beast by delivering an unforgettable, German suplex to Darby Allin. But the real climax comes this Sunday. The setup is practically begging for Don Callis to try and slide a dirty weapon, like a screwdriver, to Okada to secure the win.
Which brings us to the predictions for this whole section. Swerve advances. Athena dominates. Moxley retains to clear the board of any doubt. But the most important prediction by far, Takeshita wins the international title. He is going to beat Okada, and my reasoning is that he's finally going to reject that dirty screwdriver spot from Callis. By winning clean and leaving the family behind, Takeshita completes this massive long-term character arc, officially turning into an undeniable mega babyface.
All right, we are climbing even higher now. Section 3. Tag Team Legacies, where careers are officially on the line. This is where specific character arcs and sheer blinding hubris are driving the emotional stakes entirely off the charts. We have a monumental clash here. FTR taking on Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Now, Copeland and Cage are leaning heavily on their lifelong brotherhood,
But here's the crazy hook. It's their absolute arrogance that forced this whole situation. Because FTR beat them totally clean previously, Copeland and Cage demanded a rematch. And to entice them, FTR actually put their own tag team careers on the line. So it's a clash of absolute legends, built entirely on pride.
So we have to ask the big question. Is this actually the end of FTR's tag team career? I mean, we just saw FTR become desperate, disgusting heels recently. Remember Stokely Hathaway punching the referee in the head with a watch to help them win? They are clearly willing to do whatever it takes. But even with that newfound villainy, I just don't think they're done quite yet.
Having said that, my prediction is actually that Adam Copeland and Christian Cage will take the win. Why? Because ending Copeland and Cage's legendary tag team run right now, especially when there are so many dream matches still on the table, think about them against the Young Bucks, the New Day. It would just be taking a massive opportunity away from the fans. We need this run to continue just a little bit longer.
And now, we've finally reached the top of the stakes escalator. Section 4, the main event stakes. Deep emotional resonance. This is where world titles, generational pride, and deeply personal vanity are all on the line.
First up in this main event tier, we have an Owen Hart Cup matchup that is literally a dream clash. Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. This perfectly echoes those legendary TNA bouts featuring Joe, Christopher Daniels, and AJ Styles. And those are the exact matches that originally inspired a young Will Ospreay to even become a professional wrestler in the first place. The long-term resonance here is absolutely beautiful.
To really understand this match, you have to look closely at Ospreay's current character arc. He is resurrecting his ruthless aerial assassin persona. He recently beat the legendary Shibata, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that he hasn't lost a step despite his injuries. He needs this assassin mindset right now to literally wreck people on his way to the top, because his ultimate highly vocalized dream is to main event Wembley Stadium.
Therefore, the winner simply has to be Will Ospreay. He gets his hand raised here, taking a massive step toward that Wembley Man event. But you know it's only going to happen after an absolute 20-minute hard-hitting classic where a veteran like Samoa Joe pushes him to his absolute physical limits.
And finally, we arrive at the absolute peak of the night, the world title versus hair match. On one side, we have an incredibly unhinged Darby Allin, a guy who literally just dropped solid steel steps onto Mike Bailey's toe while completely barefoot. And on the other side, a terrified MJF who sat on commentary openly panicking at what Darby is actually capable of. This right here illustrates exactly why MJF is so terrified, and it's long-term storytelling at its absolute finest. MJF's luscious locks mean the world to him. Years ago, Kenny Omega targeted his hair. Months ago, Hangman Page took swipes at it. He has spent years fending off rivals who are trying to shave him bald. And today, Darby Allin is treating a pair of hair clippers like a lightsaber. The world title obviously means a lot, but to MJF, that hair might actually mean more. So, my prediction? MJF is gonna pull it off. He will retain his world title and keep his precious hair. But because Darby is such an unpredictable wild card, MJF is only going to escape after planting a massive seed of doubt, giving us some terrifying, razor-close near falls in those final 5 minutes of the bout. So as we wrap up this explainer and look back at all the incredible stories we've broken down, I've got to leave you with this. With so many interwoven stories reaching their absolute boiling point, careers, hair, and legacies all on the line, which of these predictions is going to shock us the most on Sunday, and which bout will ultimately define the future of AEW? Let me know what you think, and hey, keep enjoying the amazing storytelling this sport has to offer.